Representative Esplin.
Thank you. Senator Searway, Representative Keeney, and members of the Veterans and Legal Affairs Committee. My name is LD790 Testimony. I represent the town of New Gloucester and part of Poland in House District 65. And I am here today to present LD790, an act to make political advertising accountable and transparent. This bill requires a communication that is intended to influence a ballot question election and that depicts a wildlife management practice to include information about any image or video used in the communication, whether or not the practice is legal in the state. It also requires that if a communication includes an image or video of a wildlife management practice, the communication must state the location where the image or video was created and the date on which it was made. This bill is a direct result of the bear referendum that was defeated at the polls in November. The proponents of the ballot initiative were seeking to outlaw certain hunting methods, but some of the campaign communications, like commercials, were depicting images of activity that is already not legal here in Maine. And I believe we have some testimony to follow that can address specific instances of this being the case. This bill would not seek to limit what can be depicted, only that it be disclosed where the image or video was created and on which date it was made. Thank you for your time, and I can attempt to answer any questions that you might have.
Honorable Senator Searway?
You're correct.
All right, excellent. Representative Lucchini, distinguished members of the Committee on Veterans and Legal Affairs, I am David Trahan, Executive Director of the Sportsman Alliance of Maine, testifying in support of LD790, an act to make political advertising accountable and transparent. The Sportsman's Alliance of Maine would like to thank Representative Esplin for sponsoring this SAM bill. As candidates for office, the members of this committee should understand better than anyone else what it feels like to open your mailbox a week before the election and find an ad from one of your opponent's supporters telling lies about you, and then you would turn on the television and there is the same fabricated, misleading ads. You are helpless, no time to respond and set the record straight. But the worst that can happen to you is losing the election. Now imagine again what it must be like to be a Maine guy who has invested your life's work and every dollar you have into your business. As a result, you are $1 million in debt, and your livelihood depends on the outcome of the upcoming referendum. This horrible, helpless place is where many Maine business owners and conservationists found themselves when the Humane Society of the United States began airing yes-on-one campaign ads just weeks before the November vote. The ad campaign, built on distortions and falsehoods, started with the mailer that I have provided for you, titled "Dating Stinks." Why, you ask, is the ad misleading? The ad depicts a brown bear, a grizzly, and the scenery is obviously from a Midwestern state. There have never been grizzlies in Maine, and the last grizzly in Maine was about 15 years ago, and it was on display at the State of Maine Sportsman Show. Guess our wonderful Maine black bear wasn't cute and cuddly enough to make the final cut. Worse than the mailer, though, is the HSUS hounding ad that I've also supplied for the committee that ran on television just before the vote, as it was both offensive and criminal, literally.
Don't be confused. The only way to stop this cruelty is to vote yes on question 1.
Admittedly, the ad is difficult to watch for even the most hardened. If you watch the ad closely, you will see it was comprised of 3 different segments, likely filmed in different times and in different locations, and then combined to create a powerful and a visceral response, exactly what the yes-on-one political consultants wanted. Except the ad is already illegal in Maine in 2 different ways. Part 1 of the ad depicts hounds striking on the scent of a bear and diving into a patch of vegetation. It appears to be late summer or early fall. The foliage is deep green. The scene places the viewer in the context of a hound hunt. Part 2 of the ad focuses on a bear in a tree, and I will point out that the foliage had already dropped off the trees. And a faint voice can be heard saying, "Shoot him again," bang, and the bear falls. Then the screen goes black. The next thing the viewer sees is a pack of 8 dogs tearing a small bear apart as it struggles. This scene strikes at the heart of anyone who views it, exactly why it was created. Except this depiction of a hound hunt is already illegal in Maine. In addition, how many of you believe that a person would hunt a magnificent trophy like a bear, and then would turn around and allow dogs to tear it apart? In Maine, hound hunters are limited to 6 hounds, and if you look closely in the ad, you will see 8. If the Humane Society of the United States filmed this event, they took part in an illegal hunt and should have been prosecuted. In discussions with the Colonel of the Maine Warden Service, Joel Wilkinson, I also inquired whether allowing 8 dogs to inflict undue harm and cruelty, as depicted in the ad, was also illegal. The answer was yes, under our animal cruelty statutes. Again, if the Humane Society of the United States filmed this event, they participated in a crime, a felony. I have provided you with an example, which I gave to your clerk, of an example here in Maine just 4 years ago. The perpetrators in that case were convicted of aggravated cruelty to animals involving a wild bobcat. They paid large fines and went to jail. I suspect the hound footage at the end of this ad was filmed in another state and was part of a similar criminal investigation. We only will learn the origin of this film if this committee asks the Humane Society of the United States where it came from and whether it was part of the criminal case. Given this ad was already illegal in Maine, and our laws of conscience already have rejected the undue infliction of cruelty and pain on wild animals, this ad was an injustice to all ethical, law-abiding hunters and hound owners. In a sense, when the HSUS either filmed this ad or acquired it and depicted it as a lawful and normal hunt in Maine, they placed an undeserved scarlet letter on every person hunting bears by these methods in the state of Maine. A scarlet letter that is nearly impossible to undo. On behalf of our organization, Hound Owners, Guides, Mainers, I can say this is the dirtiest of politics and has no place in Maine. The unfortunate fact in our free country is that lying is legal, and we depend on the individual ethics and honesty of those that participate in political debate. Unfortunately, some can rationalize that if lying achieves a greater goal of victory, it is excusable. Unfortunately, this fact will always be true and will always be part of campaigns. Because wildlife management policy and state statute is complex, and only about 6,000 Maine bear hunters, bear hunters actually hunt, it is easy for organizations like HSUS to confuse and manipulate the debate with these types of emotional ads. All this committee can do is attempt to create an atmosphere where voters can be informed in a way where truth and fairness prevail. That is why LD790 is before you. This legislation would go a long way toward eliminating the ability to place lies and distortion before voters just days before an election, by requiring disclosure of when and where an ad was filmed and whether the ad depicted a wildlife management practice already illegal in the state. We can't stop people and groups from lying, but what we can do is better inform voters of the facts. One last point that some may try to challenge is that we cannot pass laws that come under the jurisdiction of the Federal Communications Commission. I have supplied, first of all, a letter to you that we sent to broadcasters just after this ad was aired. I won't name them, but there was only one broadcaster who refused to air the ad. So there is a need to do something. I have spoken with a representative at the FCC. I provided her contact information for you. According to her, the state of Texas has passed a law with similar consequences and that it was upheld by the courts. If the committee has such questions, I encourage you to contact, and I won't use her name, but I have left you her name and her contact information. Thank you, and I'll take any questions.
Any questions?